I love how it's far right, and this shows how biased the press is, because what exactly is right wing? I would love to have a sit down with the author of this piece and ask him, like, please tell me, what would you consider to be center right? Let's talk about your views on abortions. Let's talk about your views on the LGBT community. Like, tell me the center right view and opinions on things. Because, like, at this point, everything that is to the right, the press considers to be far right, and they can't define it. I have seen reporters being asked, like, can you define what far right is? And they literally can't. I mean, in their opinion, having views on immigration, like, allowing immigrants in, just like having a checkpoint at the border where you verify that they actually come from where they say they come, that's far right. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, everything that is not the current establishment, because, like, this is another interesting thing, the current establishment. So the current establishment, 4 years ago in France, for example, if you said anything negative about Islam, anything at all, it was hate speech. But now Macron himself, I think it was 1 year ago, he was talking about how Islam is attacking the Republic, and we need to look at universities and root out the Islamo-leftism and all of that. I mean, he was doing the hate speech, right? The establishment was doing the hate speech that 4 years ago was not allowed. Like, if I were to take some of Macron's speeches and I would have a time machine and put them 4 years ago, I would have sounded like Viktor Orban, and everyone would be like, oh my God, that is an extreme take. So yeah, like, the establishment, believe it or not, moves its opinions, and when they do that, all of a sudden they become the correct opinions, and they're not far right anymore. I mean, again, Macron saying that there is this Islamo-leftism that is threatening the Republic is not a far right concept now in 2022, but back then it was. So it's the thing that really bothers me, like the bias in the press, the far right. And I'm pretty sure, like, this bias actually did help Macron get a couple of percentage in the polls. But at the end of the day, I want to say that, no, like, this is literally what the French people want. I know it sounds bewildering, like, when you talk with people that value liberty as the main goal of things. Like, for them, like, they don't understand, like, how did Macron win? But if you talk with a person that values safety and equity as the main goal, they will definitely say, yeah, I mean, of course Macron won. I mean, did you look at who ran against him? I mean, that's a crazy person. Because at the end of the day, it's the values that are important. And some people legitimately do not value liberty. Like, there was this meme on Reddit with a lion in a zoo, which gets free healthcare, free food, free accommodations, free shelter, but he doesn't have liberty. And then you have a lion in the wild who doesn't have any of those things. And there were people on Reddit saying, like, imagine wanting to be the lion in the wild. Imagine how dumb is that? Like, why would you ever want to be the lion in the wild? And my point is that is a principle that some people legitimately hold. That is a principle that some people legitimately have. Okay? And if a person values that, then of course they're going to vote for someone like Macron. They want safety. They want equity. They don't care about liberty, right? So, like, what can you do? What can you do? And in France, there's a lot of people that vote for this principle. If the same elections would have happened in Hungary, I am willing to put money that Macron would have lost. Like, if the same people, the culture for Hungary, would have voted, Macron would have lost. But, like, you do not see that because it's a different culture. In France, there's different people. So that is why this has happened, okay? It's not that the elections were faulty or anything like that. No, like, people legitimately believe. And a lot of people are also pointed out something that I said in a previous video about Zemmour. It's like, why didn't Zemmour get more? Well, first of all, if Le Pen didn't win, Zemmour didn't have a chance. But secondly, there is also the probable vote. Let's put it like that. There's a lot of right-wingers that want to vote for a candidate that can actually win. So they wouldn't vote for Zemmour because they wouldn't think he had the chance to get more than Le Pen. But if Le Pen would win, I'm pretty sure, like, she would have given Zemmour something in her office, in her cabinet, like maybe a minister or something. So there's that. Okay, now, why do I think that Macron won? Well, I think, like, number one, when he said that he wants to frustrate the unvaccinated, like, from a person that values liberty, that is bewildering. It's like, okay, why is the president trying to frustrate its citizens? Like, is that the role of the president, to antagonize its citizens? Absolutely not, right? But if you're a person that values safety, and you think that your neighbor is making you feel unsafe, then yeah, I mean, of course, the president wants my own good, because he's now going to frustrate my neighbor. So that actually did get him a percentage in the polls. And I did say this at the time, and a lot of people didn't believe me. But that statement is actually going to give him a percentage. You have to understand, it's not the politician that creates the electorate. It's the electorate that creates the politician. I don't know, like, this is something that the far left thinks as well. It's like, oh, well, because Trump, you have problems in America. No, like, there is a percentage of Americans that have created people like Trump. And once Trump is gone, you're going to have someone else. Like, you're going to probably have DeSantis. But it doesn't matter the person, because the electorate is there, and their culture is there, and they want the person to represent them. And they're going to support any person that represents them. And this is what's happening in France as well. There are people who want to be represented, and they view Macron as their person that can represent them. And Macron, of course, he has people that tell him. It's like, okay, so this is the amount of center leftists, and you can represent them. But, like, you have the extreme far left, like the fringe, and this is something you can do in order to bring them aboard. And there's also the thing that the people only remember recent events. So if the elections happened during the Yellow Vest riots, I'm pretty sure he would not win. If the elections would have happened during the lockdowns, well, then you would have had, like, a different thing. But considering that now the main event, the one thing is the war in Ukraine, well, I guess the photo op with him being concerned and all of that actually did help. Him trying to negotiate with Putin and blah, blah, blah did help. Meanwhile, Le Pen had a different take. And it's good, by the way. Like, it's good to have different takes and have different choices between the political candidates, because then people can choose. And apparently people chose Macron. Again, you can make the argument that the mainstream media, due to its bias, may have influenced people based on a couple of percentages. However, at the end of the day, like, it's very close. Like, if people legitimately dislike Macron like they did during the Yellow Vests, well, then the media could have tried all it wanted. I mean, look in Hungary. In Hungary, it's the same thing. Like, the media really tried to go against Orban. It didn't help because there was just so many. So let me know what you guys think, and hopefully I'll see you at This Week is Stupid. Take care.